Richard Deitsch, Sports Illustrated media writer. Let me get a Peyton Manning question in there for you, Richard, before I let you go. Is he in play for an analyst job? Does he consider himself in play?
Well, first of all, I think ESPN, Dan, would give Peyton a building. Perhaps they'd even give him the new presidency if he would take this job. I think they really would like him. I think he's more in play this year than he ever has before. He has a very big agent, the Montag Group, that's doing his broadcasting. I'm sure, Dan, you've heard of that. It's a little inside baseball. But Sandy Montag's the guy who's represented very famous people, from Mike Tirico to Bob Costas, et cetera. And so I think Peyton is, from what I understand, I think he's considering the possibility of broadcasting more than he ever has before. But from everything I understand, he hasn't given any indication that he's definitely going to do it. I think if he did decide to do it this year, I think the Fox job would be far more appealing to him than the Monday Night Football job, given travel, given it's on a network, and given that Fox, I think, would be very, very good in terms of giving Peyton whatever he wanted regarding schedule. I mean, Peyton probably could leave that game. I would imagine Fox, they might even have a Fox plane for him, Dan, literally outside of the stadium, to flying back wherever he needs to be. So if he ends up doing it, I think Fox would be the only place he would do it this year. But I think I would still bet the under. He's always, and you've interviewed him many times, he's always spoken about something larger than broadcasting, like ownership or management. So I'd be surprised if he actually hit the booth. Do
you think Tony Romo and his impact had any or has any impact on Peyton's future doing this?
I do. Because I think Peyton, who's a very bright guy, saw Tony have such immense success both critically and with viewers in his first year. And Tony was really a product of preparation when it came to broadcasting. And CBS, to their credit, had a great plan. They basically did a camp with Tony where months before he was ever going to go on air, CBS people, including Jim Nantz, came down to Dallas. Tony essentially had a broadcasting trainer, which was pretty fascinating to work with him on just the mechanics of the profession. So, yeah, I think Peyton saw that. And if nothing else, said, you know what, there's a guy who did not have any broadcasting reps like me who came in, and he's arguably either the best or the second best NFL analyst working today, depending on how you feel about Chris Collinsworth. So I think that probably did give Peyton at least a little bit of maybe some rethought in terms of, I could come in and do this at a high level the way Tony did. I'm a big Tony Romo fanboy. I think he was tremendous, and I appreciate people who take analysis to the second level just to sort of teach me things about the game. And I thought he was a revelation this year.
Richard, thank you for the insights. We appreciate it. Safe travels back from Toronto.
Thanks, guys. Thanks,
All right.
Dan.
That's Richard Deitsch, Sports Illustrated media critic. Speaking about Peyton Manning, and I don't know if he's going to do this. I know he has the opportunity. And at the Super Bowl, I was told, I had a source who said that the number $10 million a year was going to be, that was going to be the number for Peyton. And I went, that's a big number. Because Gruden was around 6.5, and Peyton would be a big number there. Now, I don't know if Fox is going to be the same with that number. ESPN, I think, would have Peyton do more for that $10 million, because once you're in the car wash, then you got to do around the horn, or you got to do, pardon the interruption, football camp. You got to do the 6 o'clock Sports Center, join Van Pelt at 11 o'clock after the game. It feels like they're going to get you to do more. Now, Peyton's in a position to say, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the game. I'll do the pregame stuff. For NFL Countdown, I'm going to do just this. Fox might allow him to do just the same thing as well. But that is key. There's a lot of analysts who do, they get to Bristol, and then they go, man, I had no idea. I remember Barkley when ESPN was interested in hiring him. And he's like, what do you think of that place? I said, well, if you get in there, you can't get out. I mean, you're going to get worked. And that was one of his deterrents, that he didn't want to go there and be stretched out. He wanted to have one thing to say and one place to say it. And that made him a little bit nervous. But if I was hiring Peyton Manning, I would have a shot from behind the quarterback to start a play. Because I want Peyton to put me in that position, and he will be able to do it better than anybody. Tony Romo is great at seeing something. Peyton was the absolute best at seeing what it is and then tell you what he is thinking of doing. Peyton, camera behind him, Let me see the whole defense here and just have Peyton going, I see this linebacker here on the left. He's got my eye. I'm a little concerned about this. I'm thinking about, I would audible here because I would have a running play. Like, if you can do that in the span of about 7 to 10 seconds, then I go up top for the overall shot, and then you let play-by-play, take over from there. That's how I would try to best use Peyton, is put him in a comfortable position and in a position that we only saw him do it. Now he's explaining what he sees as opposed to we just saw him at the line of scrimmage pointing things out, making signals. Some were decoys, Omaha, and then the play is called. But to have him do it in real time, that would be something different than what Tony Romo is doing. Romo's fun because we haven't had this before. We do this at home where we go, such and such, you got a mismatch down there, or, there's nobody in the middle of the field. I mean, we might watch a game and say that. Romo is saying that from a quarterbacking perspective, and that's why it was refreshing. And that's why I think Jim Nantz deserves the Sports Emmy, because Romo was like the little kid, at a restaurant where he's just yelling out stuff on the menu. I want pancake, Fruit Loops, orange juice, apple juice. Jim Nantz, meanwhile, is the dad going, he'll take the macaroni and cheese. But, Romo would just blurt it out. Jim would have to go, all right, let me grab that. It's like a kite that was flying away, and he'd have to pull it back down.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.